Mr. Hughes is here via Zoom with counsel. Mr. Gould's here on his behalf. And ma'am, your name?
Kelly Ratton.
All right.
I'm Kristen's mom.
Okay.
Pardon?
You know if she was planning to appear for the hearing?
As far as I know, she was.
She's not in the Zoom meeting here, and I've not received notice that she's checked in the courthouse. I'll go check the hallway.
As you can see, this is already starting off bad. The mother can't even make it to a Zoom court hearing on time. Everyone else is there. The judge, the father and his attorney, and her mother, who is probably going to be a witness for her. This is the woman in Michigan who violated the court orders by sending her daughter down to Florida to live with her mother, despite the father, who is also in Michigan, not wanting his daughter to go down there. So now the father is in court and he's trying to get access to his daughter. Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates. Won't waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
No, there's nobody out there.
Oh, would you like me to try to call her?
Yeah.
I will try to give her a call real quick. You know, she works third shift, so she may have slept. Sorry, I cannot get a hold of her. I don't know why.
Well, we'll proceed. Matter was set for 1 o'clock. It's quarter after.
Absolutely.
Notice went out by the court. Gould, let's address that show cause first. What led to the show cause being filed?
The show cause was filed, I believe, November 3rd of last year by my client. Mother had primary physical custody of Emma. She actually did have Emma living with her in September of 2022. Emma had actually lived with father from January till June of 2022, but she was back living with mother in the summer and the early fall. Mother then reached out to father and said she could not take care of Emma anymore. And instead of letting father have her again, as she had done earlier in the year, she said she was sending Emma to live with Miss Ratton, who's here on Zoom, in Florida. And father was given no, say in the matter. She said that that's where she's going. I think she ended up down in Florida around October 2nd of 2022. And when father understood that that was going to be a permanent change and not just a visit, that's when he filed the show cause, because her residence had been moved out of the state without the court's order.
All right. And what order is that? That's not in any of the orders. With legal custody, I don't even know that that determination is necessary, is it? Michigan Court Rule 3.211.
An order has to state that the child cannot move its residence outside of the state without the judge's permission.
Yeah, no, that's been interpreted in case law, though, to exclude cases with sole legal custody. All right, well, I'll keep that in mind, that was the basis for the show cause. Ms. Williams is here now.
Sorry, I was sleeping. I worked all night.
Yeah. Okay. And so, Mr. Gould, your client's requested a change of custody at this time. Is that correct?
That is correct. I mean,
all right.
Separate from the show cause reason, father did have Emma living with him exclusively from January of 2022 through the end of the school year. And then again, with mother stating that she was unable to care for Emma beginning in the fall and transferred Emma down to Florida. We would much rather have Emma living with her father than with him.
All right. And Ms. Williams, what's your response to that request?
No, because he literally is only a dad when he wants to be. When she was there last, she came home and told me that she was her cousin while being with her dad.
Your Honor, we're going to object to any kind of hearsay that is brought up.
Okay, just tell me what you know, ma'am.
That he doesn't give her medication. I have physical proof of that.
What medication does she require?
She takes a pill every night. She has inhalers. She has a nose spray.
It's for her asthma and allergies, sir.
All right, Ms. Ratton, I need you to be quiet at this point. I'm hearing from Ms. Williams.
Okay, sorry.
She's the party to the case. I'll let you stay on here because the child's with you, but you can't speak unless somebody calls you as a witness, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Ms. Williams, go ahead.
She has all this medication for her asthma that he doesn't give to her.
She's talking about the same medicine that he was asking for whenever he went to go pick up his daughter. She said that she didn't have it. So yeah, they had times where she didn't give him the medicine. On top of that, if you left it at somebody's house, if that's true, that would mean that you didn't give it to her either. But you see how she's trying to use that as an excuse in court? And then two, she's still bringing up the nephew who's obviously living with his mother. Another thing, if she really believed that to be true, why didn't she contact CPS? And then her other reason about, oh, he wants to be a dad whenever he wants to be a dad. Ma'am, sounds like you want to be a mom whenever you want to be a mom. You sent the child all the way to Florida to live with your mother because you didn't want to take care of her. You can't even make it to online court on time. Talking about she overslept. You sound like a kid.
She's come back from his house filthy.
All right. Is the
And
child
when she did come back with me, he disappeared for 3 months at a time again.
But the child's not living with you, right?
And not at this moment. No, she went with my mother because I wanted her to get an education where she'd get a good education.
You see how she was about to tell that lie on the daughter? She was going to say that she sent her to Florida because a child wanted to be there. But she's aware the daughter would rather be with her father.
And now he's fighting 4 months later. Now he's going to fight about it.
But you got to understand, the law doesn't allow you to send the child with a third party without, over the other party's objection.
He didn't object.
He did, Your Honor. He filed his motion.
Filed a motion.
He didn't object till just now. She's been there since October of 2022.
Okay, well, the motion was filed at the beginning of December, so.
And the show cause was filed early November.
The show cause was filed before that, so he did object to it. And
it's because he has a problem. It's because he has a problem with my mother, and that is exactly why he doesn't want her down there. And she's perfectly happy down there in Florida.
Okay, but you got to understand, there are two parents. You don't get to make all the choices.
He hasn't been a parent.
Lady, you haven't been a parent. And now you're trying to sabotage him from being a parent by sending the daughter to your mother. This is not just about whether or not he likes your mother. You're not allowing him to see his daughter. And then to address the whole situation about time. He filed paperwork with the court in November. That's the month after she sent the daughter down there to Florida. They didn't see the last judge that you saw on part 1 until December, who got them a date with this judge in January. Now, although the time is totally irrelevant, even using her own argument, he quickly responded to her sending their daughter to Florida once he realized that she was trying to make the daughter stay there. But he has nothing to do with court scheduling. Plus, we all know that if he would have went outside of the court and went down to Florida and picked up his daughter, y'all would have called the police on him. So this is the way that he's handling it, and that's the only reason why it's taken the last 3 or 4 months to get this resolved.
He has not been a parent at all.
It sounds like the child was living with him from January to June of last year.
No, she was not.
Well, no, where did she live?
She came back to me in April. We were in court. We went to court in front of you. I don't even remember when it was, but we went in court in front of you before about that situation because he got mad because I told her she needed to come home.
That was in 2018.
That's the last time she's lived with him.
First of all, I don't know why she's being allowed to sit up here and yell like this, but this woman is straight up lying to the judge. If you remember in the last court hearing that they had in December, that was December 22 when they had the last court hearing. He told the judge that he had his daughter from January to June. She said no, it wasn't June, it was in May. It wasn't 6 months, it was 5 months. That was the whole argument before, remember?
How come you let her go live with Dad? That's what their allegation is.
She went and stayed with Dad because at the time he was doing things the right way.
How long did she stay with him?
She stayed from the beginning of January until the end of the school year, but I physically was seeing her every weekend to every other weekend.
So she lived with dad for 6 months, January to June.
I don't think the whole time, no, because she came home as soon as, like, I think it was May. I don't think it was June. I think it was May.
This woman is a complete liar. You see how she's switching the story up now?
2018?
Yeah.
4 years ago?
When he was trying to get me for child support because she was at his house.
Why doesn't the child live with you? You're the custodian. You're the custodial parent on paper.
Because I was going through a hard time. I have medical issues myself, so I was going through a hard time. So I let her go with my mother where she was going to be taken care of properly.
All right, but you got to understand, you don't get to make that determination on your own.
How not? I have full physical and legal custody of her.
That doesn't mean he doesn't have any rights. It means you get to make decisions regarding medical care and education and things like that, but you don't get to determine that she can live with a third party over the other parent without a court.
He's not being her parent though. He hasn't been her parent for a long time. Like, I don't know what you guys don't understand about that.
Oh great, now the lying hyena is about to start crying. The yelling didn't work, the lying didn't work, so of course these tears will work, right?
Further, my client
You don't need
did
to yell and scream. It kind of sounds like you're going off the rails here. I mean,
I'm not yelling and screaming. I just want you all to see that he doesn't care.
He hired a lawyer, took her to court, but he doesn't care.
All right, Mr. Gold, I'm going to swear your client and you can ask him some questions.
Your Honor, before my client testifies, I would like to call Samantha Arendado. That would be my client's girlfriend.
Where's she at?
She's here in my room. You are currently dating Jacob Hughes, is that correct? And when did you begin your romantic relationship with him?
Around Easter of last year.
Easter of last year, so March, April of last year? Okay. And when you first started dating Jacob, were you familiar with his daughter, Emma Lou?
Yeah.
And where was Emma Lou living at the time that you started dating?
At her grandma's house, where he was residing to, which is Jacob's mother's house.
So am I right in saying that she was living with Jacob and Jacob was living with his mother?
Correct.
And do you know how long Emma had been staying with Jacob at that time when you started dating him?
I knew that Emma was there since December, since the year before.
And how do you know that?
Just by his mom telling me, his dad telling me, and Jacob telling me.
Was Emma enrolled in school when you first came on the scene?
Yes.
And how do you know she was enrolled there?
I physically saw her.
So your testimony is that you saw Emma at the school?
Yes.
Do you know where she was enrolled in school when she was living with mother?
No. We found out.
No,
Why does it matter where she was enrolled when she was with me?
Ma'am, be quiet.
Can I say that?
No, you can't. You can lodge an objection if you feel that there is a legal objection to a question or an answer. But
Well,
I need you to be quiet. I need you to be
objected-
quiet for now. I'll give you a chance to cross-examine the witness and a chance to testify. But the only thing you can say now is if you have a legal objection to a question or answer.
Well, I object to the hearsay because she said that she heard it from Jacob and his mom, and
Okay.
that's
that
hearsay,
part,
right?
That part was hearsay. The part where she saw the child at school is certainly not hearsay. So, Mr. Gold, continue.
Thank you. For the record, Your Honor, I would argue that the information that she heard from Jacob himself is also not hearsay because he is a party. Moving on.
Jacob, yes. From his mother, it would be hearsay.
Correct. Were you told by Jacob at any point that Emma had attended a different school before you entered Emma's life?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
All right, that's fine.
No.
So you are now living with Jacob, is that correct?
Yes.
And at any time did Emma live with you?
She was at my house, which is where Jacob lives with me at my house. Yes, Emma has been to my house. She has her own room.
Where, when was she at your house?
After Jacob and I became together, on the weekends when we would have her, during the time that we would have her. So we got together Easter. So anytime there between the end of the school year, if we had her, which was almost every weekend.
So,
except for Mother's Day weekend, she was with Kristen.
So I'm a little confused then. So when did Jacob move into your home? Was it after the school year?
The end of April.
So when he moved in, was Emma living with him at the time? Yes. So Emma actually lived in your house.
I didn't hear her answer that question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Emma was moved in with us.
Okay. So when Jacob moved into your home, he brought Emma with him, and she moved in with you.
Yes.
Okay. So when was it? When was it that Emma left Jacob's care and went back to Mother's?
After the school year. So June 8th, when the school year ended.
You can speak up just a little bit
When
louder.
the school year ended.
Okay. And that's the 21-22 school year. That ended approximately when?
I do believe it was like June 7th, possibly the 9th.
So Emma had been living with Jacob from the moment that you started dating him around Easter. And then she did not return home to live with Mother exclusively until after the school testimony?
Yes.
Okay. You'd also mentioned that Emma was with Mother on Mother's Day. Again, is that correct?
Yes.
Did Mother have any other kind of visits with Emma during the time that Jacob had Emma?
That was the only time that I remember.
No, that wasn't.
School year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what led to Emma returning to Mother's care in June?
She said that school was done and she wanted to have her. So she asked, so we brought her up there and gave her to Kristen.
And when you say brought her up there,
we drove to where Kristen resides now with her girlfriend Abby's house. I do believe that's McLeod.
Okay. So you physically took Emma to Mother's home at the time.
Yeah.
And then did Father have any parenting time that you're aware of after that during the summer?
Yes, we would see Emma on Thursdays. We would pick up Emma from Kristen's mom, Kelly, in Sand Lake for baseball fields. And then we would have her for a few hours. And then we would drop her back off until we were like that until July, the week of July 22nd. We went up to the UP as a family on a family trip.
And when you say as a family, did that include Emma?
That was including Emma and also my 2 children.
You have 2 children yourself?
Yes, I have 2.
You have physical or legal custody of them?
I have 100% custody of both physical and school.
Okay. And were there any safety concerns for Emma while she was in Jacob's care with you? Any dangerous things happen? Any medical concerns?
Not for Jacob, no, because we were giving her the asthma, the medication, the pills, and we always made sure that we had that and gave that back to Kristen or Kelly. The only concern that I saw was Kristen's phone call. It was randomly at 1 a.m. in the morning.
And when was this phone call?
This was before we left in July, so early July-ish. She called and she said that she was unable to deal with the situation at her home and she could not deal with Emma any longer. She told us to come and get Emma because she was going to take some pills.
I object. That's hearsay. Thank you, because that's not true.
You hear?
Not hearsay. You're a party to the case, ma'am. She can testify about what you told her.
This woman is nuts. Now, all of a sudden, everything is hearsay, the things that she don't want to be said in court. Even when it's not hearsay, she's going to call it that, trying to shut the other person down. This woman is crazy. I do, however, believe that the daughter is safer with the father. Like before in part 1, I told you that I did not trust her. And now the father's girlfriend is testifying on her mental instability. I definitely believe that she made that phone call to them in the middle of the night. And even with the way that she's been carrying herself the whole time, you can see that she's out of control.
I'll let you testify to it too if you want to clarify or say that the conversation was otherwise, but it's not hearsay, so I'll overrule the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. So when you said she was going to take some pills, is that what you said?
Yes,
And who was she?
Kristen.
Kristen was going to take some pills. What did you interpret that to mean?
My mind went straight to get up, and Jacob it was 1 o'clock in the morning. So he just answered it, put it on speakerphone, and she was in tears. I said, go, tell her we're coming now. That was my reaction.
Okay. And what did you interpret I'm going to take some pills to mean? What did you think that meant?
That could have been sleeping pills. It could have been anything.
Did you interpret this defuse attempt? Or
Yes.
at least a threat?
Yes,
So did you or Jacob go up and get Emma?
we both did.
Okay. And this was before the trip to the UP, correct? At what point did Emma return home to mother's house then? Because obviously she didn't.
Correct. We returned her.
Before the school year?
Yes. Yeah, we returned her on our way home, which was the 25th of July.
Okay.
Yeah, so when we were coming back from our trip, Kristen said, hey, can you guys drop her off? I want her home now.
Did you specifically have any safety concerns for Emma at that point?
I had concerns of whereabouts of mentally how Kristen was doing still, and it wasn't my business to ask, but I mean, yeah, I did have concerns, okay, what type of mindset is Kristen in? Does she need us to take care of her a little bit longer, or is there any way I can help?
After that trip to the UP and after Emma was returned to mother, was Emma seeing Jacob or coming to your house for his alternating weekend parenting time?
No, at that point in time, she was like, you guys can see her whenever I tell, say, go.
So basically, Kristen, she's been telling the judges that he shouldn't have custody. He shouldn't be able to see his daughter because he's not a parent. And he's always picking and choosing whenever he wants to be involved. It sounds like it's the other way around. Not only is she picking and choosing when to be a parent, she's picking and choosing whenever he could be one too, by withholding her from him.
And the last time we physically saw her from that was we asked to have her for the first weekend of October for Cedar Springs Red Flannel Festival. And that's when we went to Emma's birthday party at Kelly's house. And we got notified.
Kelly was living in Michigan.
Correct.
At that time. She was not living in Florida. When you said you went to Kelly's house, you did not go to Florida.
No.
So what date was that again?
The first weekend in October.
That's the last time that you saw Emma? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's the
okay.
last
So
time.
you never saw her again after that.
Correct.
Were you present when Jacob found out that Emma was going to Florida?
Yes.
You were a part of that phone call?
That was not a phone call.
Oh, what was that?
That was at Kelly's house for the birthday party, and Kristen was there. And Kristen said, yeah, tell your mom where you're going. Tell your dad where you're going. And that's how we found out that Emma and Kelly were going to Florida.
That's who told you that?
Kristen. And they made Emma tell us.
No, Emma didn't tell you.
And then, so Kristen said those things. And did Jacob say anything?
No, and nor did I.
Why didn't you say anything?
I was just speechless on the fact that things were just not discussed.
Okay. Did Kristen give a reason as to why Emma was moving to Florida?
She did say that she feels that right now she would be the best interest for Emma to have her be with Kelly. And were just like speechless to that.
Did she-
Just shocked.
Did she explain anything about her housing or her employment or her mental status, anything like that?
She said that things at the home were still not as okay as what they wanted to be, and that she didn't have a job, but she wanted to attempt to find a job.
Okay. And this was all the first weekend of October. Had Emma been enrolled in school up until that point? Do you know?
I would have assumed that she was enrolled in Cedar Springs, but when Jacob got the phone call asking where Emma was at, that's when I realized, where is Emma going to school at?
You on the Cedar Springs campus, did you see Emma at school in Cedar Springs?
No.
But mom wasn't living in the Cedar, correct?
No.
So were you part of that phone call when called Jacob and asked where Emma was?
I was not part of it, but I was standing right next to Jacob when he got 2 of the phone calls from the schools.
Okay. Have you heard anything from mother since Emma went down to Florida? Has she contacted you and or Jacob about like Emma's coming back in January, or Emma's coming back at the end of the school year, or any sort of plans that mom has had for Emma?
No, we have not had any contact. At Kelly's house, she said that she was going to be going to school for the school year down in Florida. She would be with Kelly.
Have you seen Jacob able to FaceTime or call Emma while she's been down in Florida?
Yes.
And how often do you see him do that?
He typically will try to do it once or twice throughout the week. He does work second shift, so most of the times that we do get to speak to Emma are on the weekend.
Okay. And has grandmother, who currently has Emma, has she ever denied a request to FaceTime?
No, nope. She's been super great about like, hey, I'm at work, or hey, I'm on my way home from work. I gotta pick up Emma from daycare, or she's not here right now. She'll be there in an hour. She's been cooperative in everything.
Okay. And you're on those phone calls too when Jacob gets to see Emma?
Yeah.
And do you have any concern about Emma's immediate safety down in Florida at this point?
No.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like the court to be aware of that I haven't already asked you? No? I have no further questions, Connor.
So, Ms. Williams, if you have any questions, you can ask Ms. Arredondo any questions you might have at this time.
I don't have any questions for anybody.
All right, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Gould?
All right, my next witness is Jacob Hughes, Your Honor. And there is a current court order that awards you supervised parenting time of Emma Lou every other weekend. Is that your understanding? That's the current court order?
Yes.
Have you and Miss Williams been strictly abiding by that order, or have you taken other parenting time with Emma?
I've taken other parenting times with Emma.
Okay, let's just talk about 2022 for a moment. I know that Samantha had just testified that Emma was living with you. Was that correct?
Yes.
When did Emma come to live with you?
End of December, 1st of January.
That's January 2022, like about a year ago?
Yeah.
Okay. And how did she come about to live with you? What was the conversation between you and Miss Williams?
I don't remember what the conversation was exactly about, but it was just in the best interest for Emma to go to school because she'd be at school every day.
Was there concern that she wouldn't be at school every day where she was previously attending school?
Yes.
What was that concern? Why wasn't she attending?
She didn't have a way to get Emma to school and back home from school.
And you were okay with this, with Emma coming to live with you?
Yes.
Did Kristen give you all of the medications that Emma was supposed to be taking?
Yes.
And then did you distribute those accordingly?
I gave her pills every day, and even on the bottle, one of them said taken as needed, and I called her doctor to make sure that's how it was supposed to be, and her doctor said yes, it's not an everyday inhaler. And so I wasn't giving her that one every day, it was just as needed.
I'm convinced, for one, that she's lying about the medicine and she's still shaking her head, but I wonder why she never addressed not taking their daughter to school.
Okay. And so Emma's living with you. You live in the school district?
Yes.
And so you enrolled her?
Yes.
What was her attendance like while she was in?
She was at school every day, unless she was sick.
And you are employed?
Yes.
Where are you employed at? Okay, and what is your job there?
I'm a custodian. I work nights.
That's how you met Miss Arundano?
Yep.
You work nights, so were you able to see Emma at school at all?
Yes. During like the parent-teacher conferences, her teacher has told me that, she was, not being nice to other students, mocking the teacher, and she thought it would be better if I could stop in there towards the end of the day and see her and see if that changes, and it did. With me stopping in there and seeing Emma at school towards the end of the day, her attitude changed a lot.
Miss Williams had stated earlier in this hearing that you guys had been in front of the court in April of 2022 to discuss this sort of thing. Was that true to your knowledge? You
No.
Not had any kind of court dealings?
Nope.
Whether in front of the referee? Is it true that Emma was living with you throughout the entirety of the January or the second half of the school year for 2022?
Yes.
All right. So then school lets out in end of May, early June. Was Emma still living with you then?
Yes.
And at some point, Emma went to go live with Miss Williams again, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell me about how that transaction, how did that occur?
It was the end of the school year and Kristen wanted her back. So we made the arrangements for me to take her back to Kristen. And at that point, I brought her to her friend Abby's house, which is up in Big Rapids, Paris area, and dropped her off. It's an hour drive.
You say you dropped her off at Miss Williams' friend's house.
Yes.
Why didn't you drop her off at Miss Williams' house?
Because Miss Williams doesn't have a house.
Did Emma have any time with Miss Williams on Mother's Day?
Yes.
And where did you drop Emma off at that time?
I don't remember if I took her to Miss Williams or if she met me somewhere.
Honestly, none of these people have their stuff together. He was living with his mama, and then he moved in with his girlfriend and her kids. Kristen didn't have anywhere to stay. She's living with her friend and her kids. And then Kristen's mother, she doesn't have it together either. She's still trying to figure things out in Florida. But I will say, out of all these parties involved, the girlfriend's place may be the best option, but instead of moving in with her in her place, they should have moved together in a different place. He's just operating in a position of weakness. It's never a good idea to move in with a woman.
Other than Mother's Day, was there any other parenting time or visits with mom during the school year that you had?
During the school years, Kristen would come and get her, sometimes on the weekends, not every weekend. It was pretty much like every other weekend she came and got her.
Did Miss Williams ever make any statements that Emma Lou was unsafe, or she didn't like how Emma was being treated in your care, or anything like that?
She always accused me of not taking care of my kid, but I always took care of my kid. My kid was with me all the time unless I was at work.
Did she demand that Emma come and return to live with her?
That was after the school year.
But not during the school year?
No.
Okay. So then summer is going on. Emma was living with Miss Williams during the summer of 2022. And were you exercising any parenting time during that?
Up until our vacation, I seen her.
Okay. So that vacation was the end of July, correct?
Yes.
And so after that vacation, were you exercising any parenting time?
No, because Kristen got mad because I told her I had some concerns about where she was living with my daughter, and she told me she didn't care. I had to take her back there right now or she's calling the cops on me.
What were your concerns about where Emma was, or where Miss Williams was living with Emma?
It didn't look like a safe place to live.
Why not? Were there animals? Was there?
There was animals, you know, the one dog, like every time I showed up there, that dog was chained up outside and didn't look very nice.
But you didn't file a motion
No.
at that point. We didn't have any
No,
specific
because
reason to say it was unsafe.
I was seeing her, and then, you know, she like, oh, you can see her under my conditions now, and so.
Did you ever try to invoke the court order? Again, we talked about this. You're supposed to see her every other weekend.
Right.
And mom was denying you that? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So then when did you learn that Emma was going to Florida?
The birthday party at Kelly's house.
In Michigan again. And you heard Samantha's testimony regarding that.
Yep.
Was that accurate? Is that how it went down?
Yeah. So Kristen goes, I'm gonna tell your dad where you're going with grandma, and my daughter refused. She would not tell me. And so Kristen turned around and said, oh, she's going to Florida with my mom. What am I supposed to, like, she's got full custody over her. Like, I didn't know if I had a say in it.
Did you understand that she was going to be moving
Yes.
to Florida? Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, I got mad. I didn't say anything because it was my daughter's birthday, and I wasn't going to cause a scene right there in front of everyone.
At the birthday party, did Miss Williams explain to you why she was moving to Florida? Why Emma was moving to Florida?
Because she couldn't take care of her.
What do you remember what she said? I mean, did she say those words, I can't take care of her, or did she stand on?
Kelly told me that she couldn't take care of her in a text message.
Did Miss Williams say anything about why Florida was?
It'd be in the best interest for Emma to go to Florida to have a better education.
Okay. At that time, where was Miss Williams living?
At her friend's Abby's house.
Okay. Had she been living exclusively at that friend Abby's house?
She's been there for maybe a year or two.
Okay. Was mother employed at that time? Do you know?
Not that I know of.
Has mother usually been consistently employed during the past couple of years?
No.
Did you ever tell Miss Williams that you did not want Emma to move to Florida?
Not face to face, but over text.
Okay.
Over phone calls.
And did she respond to that?
I don't care what you say.
All that shaking her head, she didn't shake her head at that. Everyone can see that she sent her to Florida because she thought she could and she did not have to listen to the father. She thought that he had no say-so because she had primary custody, so much so that she thought she could sign over certain rights to her mother through a notary. Remember that from part 1?
I did sign legal guardianship to my mother.
Through what court?
It wasn't through a court. We'd have like a notarized paper.
Yeah, she thought this child only belonged to her, like a lot of selfish mothers.
When do you believe that she actually moved to Florida?
Sometime in October, like after her birthday. It was like that next Friday they left.
And that's when you, shortly thereafter, is when you filed the motion for show cause, correct? You've not been able to see Emma since then at all?
Not personally.
Okay. You are doing FaceTime visits with her?
Yes.
And are those consistently happening?
Mainly on the weekends because I work second shift from 3 p.m. to 11:30 at night. So she's still at school when I go to work, and she's in bed when I get off work. I don't have time to stop and make a video call during work.
But you do call on the weekend.
Yes.
Have you been calling every weekend?
When I can, yes.
Okay. Do you have any physical ailments that would prevent you from providing any sort of care for her?
What?
Are you sick, or do you have any disabilities or anything that would mean that you're not physically able to care for him?
No.
Why is this guy so slow? And he's talking about what? Like you didn't understand what he said?
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
No? Be fit to do that?
Yes.
Do you have any mental impairments that
Nope.
would prevent you? Okay. You said you're employed
Yep.
with school as a custodian?
Yep.
And what is your hourly rate there?
Uh,
Or how much do you make?
29, I want to say.
Okay.
The attorney is like, oh my God, how much do you make?
Okay. But you've been consistently working.
Yes.
You are currently living with Miss Arredondo.
Yes.
And how long have you been living with her?
Beginning of April.
Okay. Prior to living with her, where were you living?
With my parents.
Has there ever been a time where you've been homeless or unable
No.
to provide a roof over Emma's head?
Nope.
Are you still willing to care for Emma exclusively? If you were, you're asking for primary physical custody at this point. Is that still your request?
Yes.
Has Miss Williams indicated anything since October about her ability to care for Emma?
Since October, like after October, no, but like before October, yes.
Okay. Explain that a little bit.
So it was the whole thing about what Samantha said about the 1 o'clock in the morning thing about taking the pills. I jumped up, drove up there at 1 a.m., got back home at like after 3 o'clock in the morning from getting my daughter because she wanted to take pills because she couldn't handle her friend Abby yelling at Kristen, yelling at my daughter, and she just had enough of it and she wanted to take pills. And I wasn't gonna let my daughter be there.
Did you ever know Miss Williams, whether when you were in a relationship with her or after that, did you ever know her to have ideations before?
No. If she did, she never told me.
Okay. Also, at the beginning of this, in her opening statement, Miss Williams stated that you did not from January to June. Right? Do you know of any reason why she might be saying that? Like what she might be confusing something with, or you have?
I have no idea.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. Do you have anything else that you'd like to state to the court? Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Williams, do you have any questions for Mr. Hughes?
Nope.
I have a couple. So, sir, an order was entered in 2018. I think that's the last order that governed parenting time or custody. And at that time, you were granted supervised parenting time. Do you recall why that was supervised?
I don't remember.
And you were granted parenting time on Saturdays from noon until 6. Well, that's 4 years ago. 4.5 years ago. Have you exercised parenting time regularly over all of those years leading up to the current time frame that you're talking about?
So when you granted me that, the first weekend I picked up Emma, Kristen goes, "Oh, you can keep Emma down there. I'm going to come down and get her." And when she came down, she pretty much moved in at my parents' house and lived there for a whole year. And she was on and off.
All right, so the two of you cohabitated in some respect for a period of time after that? All right. So you never really did the supervised parenting time then, if the two of you were together? Because all three of you were together, right?
Right.
All right.
We weren't dating, but she
No,
was.
I get it. So if that happened right after that order was entered, how long did she live there then?
She lived there for a year, and then she moved out, and then she came back and lived there for like another year and a half.
No.
Ma'am, I'll let you testify. Just be quiet. So if we're talking 4.5 years, for at least a couple of those years,
You lived at
you weren't together, but you were living in the same place.
Yes.
Okay.
This never came up. Not only did his daughter live with him for 2.5 years, on 2 separate occasions, his baby mama lived there too at his mother's house. And then last year in 2022, their daughter stayed with him for at least 6 months alone. You know what else was happening during all this? He was still paying child support.
When did she move out of that place for good?
When she went to go live with her friend Abby.
And when was that?
I don't remember dates.
All right. So when she did that, did you have visitation after that?
Yes.
What was your visitation after that?
It was like every other weekend I had her.
Was it supervised or did you just have her on your own?
Well, I was living at my parents' house, so yeah, you can call it supervised.
Okay. I mean, you could come and go. It's not like she was enforcing
Right, yeah.
supervision requirement. Or was she?
No, she was. Kristen never told me that someone had to be there with me. I always came and got her by myself, and she never had a problem with that.
Okay. And so you had weekends then for some period of time up until December of 2021.
Yes.
Child's 7 now, right?
Yes.
So what grade's she in?
Second.
Second grade?
First.
And where'd she go to first grade?
First grade was it was supposed to start at, but then she didn't go to school for like the first like 2-3 weeks. and then they turned around and got the file transferred to.
So she went to like part of the first grade year?
Yes.
And then she transferred to Cedar Springs in December when you got her, or January?
So,
Your Honor, I think first grade is the grade that she's currently.
yeah, first grade is the grade she's currently in. She
All
went to young 5s and in kindergarten. 5s, I want to say it was like part of the year. Kristen got mad, moved out, took Emma, and that was it. And then kindergarten, she came back to and end of December, 1st of January.
All right, but she didn't go to school the first part of that year?
I don't remember what happened there. Why we changed, like.
So when you got her in December of last year, not 2022, but 2021, did you have to transfer her from a school to, did you just sign her up for?
I just signed her up for.
So she had not been going to school the entire?
Probably not. I don't know.
I'm not asking questions I already know the answer to. I'm trying to find out what's going on.
Kristen had her for that first semester. I had her for the second.
Okay. Was she in school in that first semester? Sir, I'm asking you.
Oh, I don't know if she was. I just signed her up, and the school did everything else.
So you're not sure if she was in school in the fall of 2021 or not?
Yes.
When you got her in December or January, you signed her up for Cedar Springs and she finished out the school year there?
Yes.
Did she go to school every day?
Yes.
Did she do relatively well?
Yes. That's when I was stopping in and seeing her during school.
Okay. And that was kindergarten then?
Yes.
Okay. And did they recommend that she move on to first grade?
Yes.
Okay. Even though she may have missed some or all of the first half of the year?
Yes. She was doing really good in school.
Okay. How was her behavior?
For the first, couple weeks, it was bad. But when I started popping in there and seeing her and all that, then, her attitude changed. Like, I didn't go in there every day, but like, it was like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I stopped in there and I seen her until it was time for her to go to the bus.
Okay.
And her teacher was perfectly fine with that.
I'm sorry. How was her behavior at home?
At home, it was fine. She listened.
Explain her medical condition to me, or what she require medication for. Mom made an allegation that you didn't give her medication that she requires. Explain that to me.
I gave her her medicine as it said on the bottle.
Okay, what does she have? What condition does she require the medication for?
She's got asthma.
Okay, is that it?
Yes.
So what medication is she prescribed for asthma?
There's a pill, there's 2 inhalers in her nasal. But one of the inhalers says take as needed, not every day.
All right, so the pill is every day?
Yes.
Did you give it to her every day?
Yes.
1 inhaler is every day?
Yes.
And you gave her a puff every day?
It's like 2 puffs in the morning, 2 puffs at night, and yes, she got it.
She got those? Okay.
And the nasal was every day, every night.
And she got that every day?
Yes.
Every night? Okay. And then the second inhaler, she only got that if she had a bad reaction to something?
If she was coughing real hard or breathing real hard, she got it.
Okay. All right.
Because I was doing what the doctor told me, not what Kristen told me.
Okay. Well, that's good. Any other condition that she has that requires attention or medication?
Not that I know of. Kristen doesn't tell me everything.
You feel like you have a pretty good bond with your child?
Yes.
Explain that. What makes you say that?
She always likes to come to see me. She's always happy when, right now when I'm video chatting her. She likes being around me.
What kind of fun stuff did you guys do when she was living with you for those 6 or 7 months?
When I was at my parents' house, we played outside. When I had my parents' quad running, we went for rides on that. When I was started living with Sam, we went to the trampoline park. We go for trips. We go to the lake.
She yell and scream, splash around, have a good time when she's with you, doing stuff like that?
Yeah.
She's not all withdrawn or hesitant about being with you or anything like that?
No.
So you said she does well in school. She old enough to probably didn't have any homework last year that you had to really do with her, or did she?
It was just like reading.
You read to her?
Huh?
You read to her or read with her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Reading and, learning her, ABCs and, counting and all that.
Do you have a meal schedule? Or are you kind of on your own for food or what?
I would make her food.
You made her food? Did you make her breakfast?
Cereal.
Did she get school lunch or did you make a lunch for her every day?
She had school lunch.
Okay. How about dinner?
Well, when I was living at my mom's house, it was whatever my mom made for dinner. Or if she didn't make anything, it's chicken nuggets or pizza rolls. Or ramen noodles.
What about in your house? Well, you were gone because you were working the second shift, right?
Right. So it's whatever Sam made them for dinner.
Other than her asthma, did she have any health issues when she was in your care that required attention? No? Okay. She got plenty of clothes, toys, stuff she needs? Yep. Toothbrush, hairbrush, all that kind of stuff?
Yes.
What was your understanding of why Kristen asked her to live with you in December of 2021?
Just figured it was too much for her to handle.
That's what she told you? Word for word? Or
no, that's not what she told me, but that's what I kind of figured, because why else would she ask me to have Emma?
Yeah, what'd she tell you?
I don't exactly remember.
Okay. You got any kind of criminal record?
No.
You ever been investigated for child neglect?
No.
Do you know if the child would like to live with you?
I'm sure she would like to.
Has she said that in so many words, or are you just assuming?
She's happy when she's with me. Why wouldn't she want to not live with me?
When the child was with you for those 6 months or so at the beginning of last year, did you make sure that she could have contact with her mom, talk to her mom, see her mom?
Yes.
How so?
Video chat. Anytime Kristen wanted to video chat, she pretty much video chatted unless I was working.
She had parenting time on Mother's Day. Did she have any other parenting time?
When she came and got her. So that was like every other weekend.
So you never said no. She came.
No, I never told her no. She couldn't come get her.
Why didn't you file for custody then?
I was seeing her. I wasn't really gonna complain about it.
Any domestic violence between you and Kristen Williams?
No.
All right, Mr. Gould, anything else for your client?
No, thank you.
All right, and Ms. Williams, any questions for Mr. Hughes after that?
Nope.
No? All right. Mr. Gould, anything else you wanted to present?
No, we have no further witnesses.
All right. Ms. Williams, did you want to testify?
Yeah, because everything he said was not true.
All right. Raise your right hand then. You swear or affirm any testimony you give in this cause to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Man, I just can't take it. He told her to hold up her right hand and she literally just put up her left.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and tell me what you want me to know.
So, to start with, the last time he saw her was not the first weekend of October. It was 2 weekends prior to that because her birthday was September 22nd. And he literally was at her birthday party for less than an hour, barely talked to her at all. Like, that doesn't show me somebody who wants to be a part of her life. Before my mom invited him to that, I hadn't heard from him for like 3 months. I hadn't heard from him since July. When they dropped her back off in July, that is the last time me or my mother heard from him. And as far as her medication goes, she takes a singular pill. She has an inhaler, a steroid inhaler that she takes 2 puffs 4 times a day. 2 puffs twice a day. So 2 puffs in the morning, 2 puffs at night. She has a nose spray that she gets daily. She has an albuterol as needed, which that one is an as needed thing. And she also takes a liquid Claritin every single day, which I've sent him medicine every single time she goes. Her medicine goes with her. And I have picture proof of him not giving it to her because I got to the point where I counted every single pill that came out of that bottle. Or I took a picture before she left. I took a picture of the medicine before she left, and then I counted it and took a picture of it, but when she came back. Because she comes back and she does nothing but cough and cough and cough. And when I send her, she doesn't do that. When I was sending her, she didn't cough before she went to him. And then all of a sudden she was really bad when she got home. So that's when I decided to start recording the medicine before she went and when she got home.
Anything else?
And she has been going to school. She went to school with me. She started at White at the beginning of the school year before she went with my mother. So she didn't miss 3 weeks of school. She literally started first grade the day that public school started school. She started first grade. And she has told me and my mom both that Emma has told us both.
No hearsay, Your Honor.
Sustained.
How is it hearsay? I'm talking about the child that we're talking about.
She's not a party to the case. She's certainly an interested party, but the two of you are the parties to the case. So things that you say
but you asked
are not hearsay. But and just so I'm being fully transparent here, ma'am, you are like I said before, third parties, which include grandparents and other family members, don't have necessarily custodial rights to children in Michigan. Grandparents can get visitation rights, but the Michigan law doesn't really allow the court to grant custody to third parties, including grandparents, unless certain criteria are met. But that criteria is pretty extraordinary. You would have to the parents would actually have to be unwilling or incapable of caring for the child. If that was not necessarily the case, the court would have to find that the parents were unfit to care for the child before the court could actually grant a third party or a grandparent custody in Michigan. So that's kind of an uphill battle you're fighting right there. You would have, for whatever reason, I think you've determined yourself to be incapable of caring for the child by sending her off with somebody else. So
but I have taken care of this child.
Okay, but you're not right now. But you're not right now. And so I guess what I would need to hear from you would be some kind of evidence where I could make a determination that Mr. Hughes is unfit. Otherwise, I really have no choice but to grant him custody.
The fact that he doesn't give her medicine is not a factor to you guys?
Well, he testified that he does. It is
And
a
I
fact.
have picture proof that he doesn't.
I don't see any pictures right here. I don't have any pictures in front of me.
That's because I don't know how to send them to you
You
guys.
might have that, but I don't know. I mean, and you could manipulate the bottles. I'm not saying you did, but it's somewhat suspect.
I didn't manipulate any bottles. I literally counted the pills
Okay, but
from the time she left.
But it basically comes down to your word against his, is what I'm saying. And other than that, I mean, he's testified that he's got a good relationship with the child. They do fun stuff together.
They don't have a good
Made
relationship.
sure that she got to school every day, and she did well in school when she was in his care at the end of last school year.
So threatening a boy with a pair of scissors is having a good, stable thing at school?
He threatened somebody with a pair of scissors?
She did.
Okay. Was it addressed?
He yelled at her about it. He didn't talk to her about it.
Were you there?
Yeah,
You saw it?
because I asked her, because she came home, because that was the day, it was one of the weekends that I picked her up from him. And
Lady, you need to get your life straight. Look at her. She can't even get it out. While she and her mother, they're up there shaking their heads about the daughter living with the father, the judge is telling them the child can only go to 2 places right now. He will have to send her back to the mother's with her friend, or he can give the father primary custody. Kristen is obviously unfit to be a parent. That's why she sent her to Florida. The question is, can the father take care of her? Well, he did for 6 months in 2022, and Kristen had no problem. And again, throughout the whole process, he still paid her child support. I hope they address that. He's been paying her child support when both of them lived with him, when the daughter lived with him alone, and when she sent the daughter to live with her mother when the father didn't approve. Do I believe he was reading to their daughter and helping her with school? No, I don't. Kristen wasn't helping either. He told her to put up the right hand and she put up the left. She was barely even taking their daughter to school. Then the father admitted that when he's getting off from work, the daughter is asleep. So basically, he's relying on his girlfriend to help with her. And it seems like when she's with her, she's doing a good job taking care of her. Kristen had no issue with her. And the father, he has to go to work. He's got to keep paying everybody's bills and pay Kristen that child support, even though she's not even with the kid. We have about another 30-40 minutes to review in this case, but so far, based on the testimony, I believe the judge should allow the daughter to go with the father. I think mentally and financially, Kristen is less stable here. If you want me to review the last part, let me know below in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up. If I see that most of you are liking the video and saying that you want to see it, we will definitely come back with the final part. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Based on what we know so far, if you had to be the judge on this case, would you allow the mother to keep primary custody or give primary custody to the father? Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.